Alrighty. Hi, Stephanie. My name is Stephanie. I'm going to be your doctor of physical therapy student today. How are you doing?
I'm all right.
Just all right? What's going on?
Oh, I don't know. I just have been in a lot of pain and having a tough time. Things just
That's
kind of suck right now.
that's not good. Are there certain things that kind of make your pain worse?
Um, I don't know. I just kind of feel like it's my low back pain a lot of the time, and um, yeah, it's just hard like moving around in general. Honestly, I just don't have any energy.
Yeah, that makes sense. When you're in pain, it's really hard to, have the energy to do the things that you want to do with your life. I understand that. What were some of the things that before you were having all this pain that you really enjoyed doing?
Oh, I don't know. I guess me and my partner used to like go for walks and stuff. Um, Not really big mountain people, but yeah, anything to get out of the house. But that feels like a big deal these days. I can't really get out of the house much.
And that's because of this pain that you're having in your low back?
Hmm.
Yeah. How is that affecting your relationship with your partner?
Well, she doesn't really want to, I mean, you know, do the bedroom things these
Yeah.
days. Um, I think it's probably because I don't know. I mean, I'm not very desirable, you know. I mean, look at me and just kind of turned into a blob, feels like. So I don't know. Things are kind of tough between us, but we don't really talk about it much.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. I understand that that can be a difficult thing to have when, there's this conflict between you and your partner. You referred to yourself as a blob. Has someone said that to you, or is that something that you see in yourself?
No, that's just how I feel.
That's how you feel. Do you enjoy feeling this way?
I mean, no.
Yeah, nobody does. So coming from that, you're talking about how you don't have all this energy and you don't want to feel, in your words, a blob. Like, what do you think we could do to kind of get you out of this funk that you're feeling?
I don't know. I mean, if I feel like if the pain could go away, things would get better. Like I could move around and just do some more things that it's just painful to do all that stuff, to do it.
Gotcha. Yeah, so what I'm hearing you say is that like if we figure out a way to decrease this pain that you're feeling and address this pain, that you'd be more open to the idea of exercising. Maybe not, going to the gym and doing all of these ginormous different types of exercises, but going for those walks again with your partner.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have the energy right now to work out, but I mean, if my back didn't hurt, I could at least go for a walk, I guess.
Okay. So that's really good because what we can do is we can find ways to address your pain. And my colleague here, Chelsea, is going to kind of talk to you about some different things and ways how pain affects you on a daily basis. So with that, Chelsea's going to give you a little bit more information about some pain.
Okay.
All right. Hi, Stephanie. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can.
Okay. So I've just been kind of listening in on your guys' conversation here, and it sounds like you are having a decent amount of pain and it's affecting your life. How much do you know about how pain works in your body?
I don't know. I mean, it hurts, so I don't do stuff. That's about the extent of what I know.
Okay. Well, pain, as you can imagine, is a pretty complex process. It's pain depends a lot on context, research has found. So pain starts out seeming pretty simple. You have sensors. There's sensors located all over your body. And those can be activated mechanically, by temperature, or by different chemicals. And so once those get enough stimulation, those will send a signal to your spinal cord, to your central nervous system. And then once that becomes stimulated enough, you get a signal up to your brain. Now, pain is processed in the brain in a very complex and connected way. It's almost like a blueprint inside your brain. And once one part of that blueprint or one connection gets made, it activates the whole entire thing. And so what researchers have found is that part of what there are parts of your brain that are connected to emotions, that are connected to stress, that are connected to a lot of outside factors that we don't necessarily associate with physical pain. So what can happen is when those, like when you get stressed or when you're around people who induce a particular negative emotion, parts of those pain pathways can get activated without any like physical sensor stimulation. So one of the good things is that these sensors have a short lifespan, so they get turned over every couple of days. And so when that happens, there's a new sensor that can have a different maybe reaction to the outside stimulus. And so that's a good thing to keep in mind. So what that means is that there's potential for change going forward. Do you have any questions for me so far about, the pain process or anything like that?
No, I mean, I'm not a scientist, so that doesn't all make total sense to me, but I mean, yeah, I guess is there something, how do you know where the pain's coming from?
Well, that's a good question. I think managing pain is trial and error. So like I was saying, particular emotions or stressors can exacerbate pain that already exists.
Okay.
So just really paying attention to how your pain or your the bad feelings in your body are presenting, and what sorts of situations that you're in, what sorts of people that you're around, what sort of stressors you might have going on, and then sort of going forward from there. Just because, like I said, science shows that those pain pathways and the web in your brain, those can be affected by more than just like a prick on your finger. There's a lot of external stimuli that can have an effect.
Okay. So how do I stop the pain? How do we make it better?
Well, I mean, like I said, that's what we're going to try to do with treatment going forward. But I think that just having a little bit of background about how pain works can help you be a little bit more aware in your life of what external factors are affecting your pain. And then our physical therapy team is going to give you some more specifics about other more tangible things that you can do to manage your pain a little bit better.
Okay, so my doctor tried to give me pain medications and I don't really want to do that. What do you think about marijuana? Like for management?
Well, the research out there for marijuana and pain management is there's a lot of conflicting evidence. There's also not a lot of evidence just because of its classification by the FDA. So what I do is I can send you some of those resources, and I can help you in your decision-making process from there.
Okay.
Cool. All right. So I think that's all the time we have right now. So guys, do we just stop? I know we're out of time.
Yeah,
I think it's just feedback now.
Yeah, I think we get feedback.
Okay.
Stephanie, do you want to start us off with feedback?
Oh, sure. I feel like Stephanie, you did a great job with the motivational interviewing and like things like it sounds like, to make sure you're getting what the patient is talking about. And I really appreciated the curiosity you had around like, oh, well, where does that come from? That idea that you're a blob. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think you did a great job.
Thank you. Do you think I was talking too quickly at all? I've had that issue in the past.
No, I didn't notice that.
No? Okay, perfect. Sweet. Thanks.
Yeah, great job. And then Chelsea, I thought you did a great job. A lot of that went over my head because it felt very like science-y. So I don't know if you could like break it down a little bit, like simplify it for us lay people. I think like, because it got me thinking about like, oh, what do you mean like people can cause pain? Or like, what do you mean that like certain emotions can cause pain? Because that just got me like, you know, on all different paths. But the way you explained it was very scientific, and it seemed like, oh, okay, this sounds like it's coming straight from like a textbook. But from a patient perspective, I don't know, I just kind of, it was a little hard to understand at times. But maybe that's just me.
Okay. No, I mean, I agree. Like, this is my first time doing this, so I appreciate all the feedback that you have. I do. We're so used to using these terms, and like for me, that seemed even a little, it seemed less scientific than I would normally use. So that's good feedback for me, for sure. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. I get that with our program. We have the same thing. We have to tune down the jargon. But yeah, I thought you had a really nice presence and energy, and the way that you asked questions was good.
Guys, I hate to be like the boss here, but we're almost halfway through. We got 2 more left. So do we want to jump into case 3?
Sure.
Sounds good.
Well, and before we jump into case 3, I wanted to ask Annie, do you need to get back to your meeting, or are you done with that?
Nope, it's done. I'm good to go.
Okay, just wanted to make sure in case that you needed to get back. I wanted to give you the opportunity to go before us if that was the case.
Thank you, Landon.
Good call. And then, Steph, sorry, I didn't give you a halfway timer. I was just going to do a 1 minute, but it seemed like it's just a long time. So I was going to give everyone like a halfway up of the 5 minutes and then a 1 minute kind of like warning.
Sorry, just finishing reading this really fast.
You're good.
You're fine.
Can see the focus on your face.
Okay. Good. I got it generally.
Okay. Well, hi, Stephanie. My name is Lennon Peterson. I'm going to be the student doctor of physical therapy that'll be assisting you today.
Okay.
So with this, I was wondering, what are some of the concerns that you wanted to bring up with me today?
Well, my daughter, I mean, she's just, you know, she's going to school this fall, and it's a whole big deal. And there's just, I mean, just with her walking, like we need to figure that out. Sorry. And she's got really bad lung disease. And so just trying to figure out how we can like support her and get her through school and all that stuff. I mean, there's just so much going on because we just immigrated, and it's just a lot. I'm just, there's a lot going on.
Oh, I'm sure. I can only imagine how you're feeling and all the emotions there that are associated with the things going on in your life. But I want to reassure you that like we're here as a team to support you and be your advocates. I guess like with your daughter's challenges with her walking, have you considered a wheelchair as an option for your daughter, especially if she's going to school?
No, I don't want her to be in a wheelchair. What do I want? Yeah, I mean, I think that eventually she's going to walk. So I don't think she needs to get to that point yet. We can just help her. I mean, we've had people before that would help her. So she just needs to work those muscles more and she'll be just fine.
Yeah, I totally understand where you're coming from and trying to support your daughter in walking. But as we continue to work with her on her walking, I think something that would be beneficial to you and your family in the meantime would be a wheelchair, so you guys can have some of those opportunities to go out in the community, and as she starts school, we can start working her towards walking. I think this would give you a little bit more freedom in the time being. And I guess my question is what things do you think that you as a family could benefit from with your child having a wheelchair as we work on the walking challenges she faces?
I mean, I guess we wouldn't have to carry her everywhere. It wouldn't have to be this whole big, getting her into the car and, figuring out who's going to carry her, all that kind of stuff. But I think people are going to look at us weird, and it's a whole big thing with the wheelchair. And how is she going to get practice, like trying to use her legs if she's in a wheelchair? I just can't wrap my mind around that,
Yeah. And I totally understand where you're coming from on that. There is a lot of concern as far as your concerns are very valid, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And I want to propose this to you as an option that I recommend just so that, like, as we continue to work with your daughter, she can have these opportunities outside of your home, especially as she gets a little bit, she grows and she's going to get a little bit heavier and things like that with age, just like any other child.
Yeah.
We want to help you and her be able to enjoy as much as you can.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Opportunity in life.
I mean, I guess we can talk about it, but I really am not a big fan of the wheelchair idea.
Yeah, and I totally understand. But what things do you think that I can help out with in overcoming challenges the unique challenges you're facing right now?
I don't really know, honestly. Just trying to figure out how to get her into school and reduce her pain, I guess. Like when I put her in a standing position, she like cries out. And so I just, I don't want her to be in pain, of course.
Of course not.
So maybe you could help with that.
Absolutely. That is something that we can definitely help out with right now. In fact, I've come here with Claire, my colleague, and she's going to actually talk about some of the pain that your daughter's experiencing, kind of explain what pain is and its important function in our bodies so that we can, perform life the way that we desire.
Okay.
So, go have Claire talk with you about that for a second.
All right.
Hi, Stephanie. So my name is Claire. I'm a doctor of physical therapy student, and I'd really like to help you with your daughter here. So you kind of explained, I was listening to your conversation, that you're worried about the pain that your daughter is experiencing, especially when you bring her to that standing position.
Yeah.
So I'm going to kind of go into what pain is, and this is a really complex topic. So feel free to stop me at any time if any of this doesn't make sense, or if you want clarification on anything. Does that sound okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. So first, I just want to preface that pain is something that we need in our bodies. It's a normal response. Because if you think of, if we hurt ourselves, like hurt our ankle and we kept walking on it, that would make things worse. It would have more damage for us. So we kind of need pain to take care of ourselves so we're not in harm's way. And how this works, we have sensors all over our body that will pick up on all different sensations. And sometimes these sensations might be dangerous. For example, if you touch something hot, that would send a message to your body that there's danger, that there's some sort of alert. And if that's high enough.
Wait, do you think I'm putting my daughter in pain? Am I a bad mom?
Not at all. So I think this will come out a little bit more as we go through pain. But so there are a lot of different processes that go on when your daughter's experiencing pain. And they may not actually be related to anything that you're doing. So I think that if we work through this pain, we may actually be able to see that your daughter can progress further and that you can do more things with her once we address where that pain is actually coming from.
Okay, because I'm trying really hard to just be a good mom, and you never expect that your kid's gonna have some big thing like this. So I want her to be out of pain.
Well, I think you can tell me how this sounds, but in my experience, I've had a lot of success with going through little steps to get those little successes with managing the pain. So maybe we don't start with the huge goals, but we start with things that you and your daughter both feel you can be successful with and won't have pain with. And then we can kind of progress from that point.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Awesome. So I want to get into just like a little bit more about pain and how this could be affecting your daughter. So we've talked about, we have those sensations and those alerts in our body that are going to tell us when there's something that we need to address. There's something that might not be right. So normally we have pathways or ways that these messages of danger or messages that something needs to be addressed will get to our brain. And the areas of the brain will, there are a lot of them that will be involved. And some of these are also involved with things like our feelings and our emotions. And so you don't have to worry about the pathways, but just know that in pain, there's a connection with things like fear and stress, anxiety, also things like pleasure and excitement. And those can play into the actual experience of pain.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So we really want to look at specifically your daughter and what's going on in her life, because maybe we can address other things that may kind of help her deal with the pain. So one thing that I'd like to propose and just see what your feelings are, I think that maybe the power wheelchair might actually help us out a little bit if your daughter is having pain with standing, if she has a little bit of fear with that. Do you see your daughter having any like anxiety or not liking going into standing?
Yeah, but I mean, I try to help her, like she needs to stand. And so I'm just trying to like get her to do it as much as possible. And I know it hurts, but I feel like if I do it more, then it'll stop hurting. And I already told Landon, I know that like, I don't love the idea of a wheelchair. It's just so much more to think about. But
Yeah.
I do want to help my daughter. I love her so much. So we can talk about it.
Awesome. I definitely see that you're a little bit worried or hesitant about the wheelchair, and you really want your daughter to progress. And that's maybe why you want her to stand and really have been practicing that. I think that maybe it could be the wheelchair, it could be some other form of therapy that we use. But if we have some way that your daughter can see that movement can not have pain with it, that she is able to move in some way, it could be moving in her wheelchair, it could be some other sort of intervention, but maybe taking some small step to make her feel a little bit more comfortable so that she can go up in those little steps.
Okay, yeah, we can talk about it.
Awesome. So I think we'll go into feedback now because we ran out of time.
Okay, so that's me then. Yeah, sorry, I was trying to play up the anxious part of her like manic state. So Landon, I thought you did a really good job asking questions about like where her motivation is and like fielding the question. I'm saying her as if it wasn't me. But like fielding my questions about, or like my hesitation with the wheelchair, like, okay, I understand that and I hear where you're coming from. Yeah, so I thought you did a good job with that. And then Claire, same. I feel like you were using like motivational interviewing within the explanation of the pain, which was helpful because I realized I didn't give Chelsea much to work with, so I was trying to like interrupt a little bit, and you fielded all of my questions and concerns really well. So yeah, I thought you guys did a great job.
Thanks. And I thought that was really helpful for me, because I think, that's what it would be like in a patient interaction is, you get to know kind of what the patient's background is, because some people might know a lot about pain, some people might not know anything. So getting that periodic feedback and your concerns with that was really helpful.
Yeah. So sorry, Chelsea, that I didn't give you much to work with.
No worries. And I totally forgot to preface, like Claire did, interrupt me if you have any questions. So yeah.
No worries. Okay.
Cool. So I guess case 1 is up.
Do it really fast.
Perfect. While Steph's reading that, does someone want to volunteer to be our timekeeper? Chelsea, I see your hand. All right, cool. Oh yeah, just let us know like when we're a minute out or halfway, and then when to wrap it up.
Just let me know when you're ready, Stephanie.
Okay, I'm trying to read super fast.
You're good. Take your time.
Okay.
All right, we good?
Yep, I'm ready.
All right. Hi, Stephanie. My name is Annie, and I'm a doctor of physical therapy student that's going to be working with you today. How are you doing?
Annie, I'm okay. Yeah. How are you?
I'm doing okay. I'm excited to visit with you today. Kind of read a little bit about what you're experiencing, but do you mind just telling me a little bit more about kind of the issues that you're experiencing?
Yeah, I'm just in pain like all the time. Like everything hurts. So yeah, I've just been trying to minimize the pain when I can. And yeah, I'm homeless right now, me and my 2 kids, and so just trying to find places for us to stay, and it's really tough. And then, being in pain all the time, just kind of feel like I can't get out from underneath everything.
Yeah, I from what I'm getting, it sounds like you are, experiencing some things that are difficult, but I think you being here today is such a great step forward. And can you just tell me a little bit more about your kids? What are they like, and how are they, experiencing living right now?
I don't know much about my kids. They are 4 and 7, and they really they think it's kind of like an adventure for us to be like out and about, but I've got to carry the 4-year-old, and with all the pain it's just really tough. And I wish that the 7-year-old could be in school, but can't do that because we don't have an address. And yeah, I mean, they're good kids. They're just, I feel bad because I feel like I'm not providing them a good life.
It sounds like you have a really good relationship with your kids. And, you kind of told me before we started talking about your kids that you were trying to find different ways to alleviate the pain that you're experiencing. Can you tell me a little bit about what you're doing to mitigate the pain right now?
Well, I mean, try not to show you my hands because they're really bad. I haven't been able to wash them in like a month because it's just so painful. So, sometimes I smoke more cigarettes, and sometimes I just have to do some drugs so that I can't feel it anymore.
Yeah, I think pain's a really complex thing, and I understand you trying to find a way to relieve it. What can you tell me about the benefits that you feel like, or in the negatives that you feel like your self-medication is doing for you and your pain and your family even?
Well, the only time that I don't feel pain is when I'm high. So that's the best thing about it for sure. But it's hard to find the money to keep it up. And, sometimes I have to take my kids with me to like some kind of like not so great areas, to get what I need. And so I don't love that, but it's just, I have to do it to survive.
Yeah, I think, as you said, you seem to really care for your kids, and that just keeps coming up over and over again. And, I read that you would really like physical therapy to be an effective way to, possibly replace your opioid usage and, your self-medication, so that you can get a job and provide for your family. And I think that this is a great first step for that.
Okay.
Well, since you're experiencing so much pain, we have a pain expert here today, my colleague Carl, and he's here to provide you with a little bit more information about the pain you're experiencing.
Okay.
Hey, how's it going? Carl here. I'm a doctor, physical therapy student. I'm just gonna give you a little bit of information about your pain, and as we know, information is power. So the more we know about this, the better we can address it. Before I do this, though, I would just like to ask you, could you explain what your symptoms are like to you? How do you feel about them? How do you actually, what word do you use to describe them?
I mean, I do use pain. It's like everything hurts because, like being out in the sun, there's just too much light. When there's too much noise, the pain gets worse. When people touch me, or like, holding my kids, it's just, it all hurts.
So from what we know, what you're experiencing is not uncommon. So I want you to understand that you're not alone here. The way pain works, a lot of people think about pain like, oh, I have my hand, I'm going to put on a hot stove. My body will tell me my hand's hot and I know to pull it away. But pain is actually a lot more complicated than that. And the reasons that you're feeling more pain when you're in the bright light, when you have to carry your kid for extended periods of time, or when people touch you, is pain is actually affected by a lot of different parts of your brain and how they actually can feel what's going on in your body. So for instance, your emotions and your mood can actually have an effect on how you feel your pain. So what your body can do is, if you associate something that's a stressful situation with your pain, your body can actually feel more pain. This is kind of like fear. So let's say you're walking home from the grocery store at night, and on a normal day, you probably wouldn't be afraid at all. But if you just watched Texas Chainsaw Massacre, or you just saw a cop roll by, you actually will start starting to see the shadows are more scary. Because you have that background, your fear is actually higher. And that's, we can see that happen in a lot of people, and I suspect possibly you. Does that sound like something that is plausible to you?
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm worried all the time because, you know, I want my kids to be okay, and, you know, we're living on the street and just trying to find places to be. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, if my emotions make my pain worse, then yeah, I mean, that makes sense.
Well, this is actually where the power of information comes in. So now we know that your certain situation is very stressful for you, as it would be for everybody. And we know that that certain stressful situation can actually have an influence on your pain. So could you imagine a place and time, like maybe when you had a home and you felt confident in that your kids were safe and that they were going to a good school? Can you imagine that, how that lack of stress and just your self-confidence, do you think that we could, if you got to a place like that, your pain would be something more manageable and something that we'd be able to work on?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, definitely my pain's been worse since we've been on the streets. So, I guess that might make some sense, but I don't really know. It just seems like way too much to tackle.
Yeah, it's a big mountain to climb, but I think it's important that you understand that we're a team in this endeavor. So we're both going to be working towards this. And I think the biggest point that we need to hammer home right now is that the pain that you have right now is not necessary because there's no bodily harm associated with it, and it is temporary. So just knowing that the pain you have right now is not providing the sort of survival instincts that a necessary pain would be, like if you had your hand on a hot stove, and knowing that once you can control some of these outside factors, that's going to positively influence your pain. I think we can be on a good start to a recovery.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I want to get help. I do. So we can figure it out.
Is there any questions you had about your pain that you need to ask me?
No, not right now.
Well, thank you for taking the time.
Yeah, thank you.
I think we're done.
Great. So I really got into character. I was like around.
You're killing it.
I saw it.
So Annie, I feel like you did a great job with the motivational interviewing, and yeah, sorry that it didn't say anything in the case description about the kids, so I was like, I'm gonna make it up.
No, that's totally fine. I knew there wasn't, but I was just trying to draw like something that you cared about, and there wasn't really much information, but I was like trying to pull something. So
Yeah, no, I think that was really good because then you like connected that throughout the interview, because that is something that's important to her, me, and yeah. So I feel like the questions you were asking were right on track, and yeah, I feel like it went well.
cool. Thank you.
Yeah, and then Carl, same. I feel like you two were using the motivational interviewing within the explanation of pain, and you know, like being the third one to do it, you probably learned from the other ones. I would imagine that you know, keeping it simpler was easier, especially with the complex case that this is. That, you know, she's experiencing homelessness, she has kids, she's got substance use issues and all that stuff. Like just focusing on, like, you know, if your mood is down, then it can increase your pain, and that made a lot of sense to me. And then the one thing that I think stuck out to me as a growth opportunity was making like examples relevant to the patient. So like you said, you know, let's say you went to the grocery store. Well, she's probably not going to the grocery store and going to her car, you know, or she probably hasn't watched a movie in a while. So just a tiny little thing that I think, you know, thinking about where the patient is at, and giving examples that might be more relevant to them could make it feel, the information feel more accessible. But I felt like your questions were good and your approach was really good. So yeah, great job, everybody.
Thank you, Stephanie. We
Thank
appreciate
you.
coming here.
Thank you. That was super
Thank you.
helpful. So thank you.
Good.
How is your class doing with everything that's going on?
I mean, we're all online right now. So normally we do like case discussions and, you know, like interactive stuff during class, and that's just not happening the same way. Like I'm taking group counseling and we have to do, you know, like a process group on Zoom. It's just very different, but you know, like we're making it work and doing the best we can. I think this will help in the future with, like, I think Zoom meetings and telehealth help with accessibility. So I think that's the good part. How has it been for you all?
It's been challenging for sure. I mean, especially I think